We just received breaking news that Star Wars is receiving two new projects. We've got a Mandalorian and Grogu focused movie and Ahsoka season two. Very exciting news for Star Wars because we have not had any projects confirmed for about 3 years. So we're just going to give our general thoughts on these announcements. Jack, what do you think about the announcement
Yes.
of the new Mandalorian movie called The Mandalorian and Grogu?
This is where it's going to get interesting. So, as we all know from our season three overviews and reactions to them, I wasn't the biggest fan of the direction they went with Mandalorian and Grogu in terms of how they kind of backtracked on like those kind of but more focused and tonal kind of roots, and they went a bit more oh, the Mandalorian is about the people, not about this particular person that we followed for 2 seasons. So now that they've done a movie, or they're going to do a movie with it, I feel like they're trying to get that kind of season one and two vibes back. Because why would they call it like, or like have the two main people be Mandalorian and Grogu and then focus it on, like, for example, Bo-Katan or something? So I'm having hopes that it will be better than season three. However, this could be good or a bad thing, which I'd like to hear you guys' opinion. Is that it's so open now for how season three ended. Which direction are they going to go with this? Are they going to go back to him just doing regular bounties, or are they going to go a direction where, oh, he's going to try and figure out like how to take down the Empire or something because they're all over Grogu, or are they going to try and link it with the sequel trilogy and how they cloned Palpatine? Like,
Mm,
where is it going to go? Bit skeptical, but more optimistic than I was with season three.
good, good.
Yeah.
Mark?
Yeah, I'd agree. I mean, I considering season three pretty much ended, in that cartoony fashion with the circular lens on the Mando and Grogu. I'm surprised that they're calling, as Jack said in the movie, the Mandalorian and Grogu, and focusing on those two in particular. Because again, I thought
Mm.
same as Jack that their story had pretty much ended, as sad as it was. So I was thinking
Yeah.
season four would be again more like about Bo-Katan and what's going on with the other Mandalorians. So I'm honestly quite surprised by the announcement, but I'm not sure if that's a biggest concern, but what comes to my mind immediately is how they're going to fit around a whole season's worth of content into one movie. If it
Yeah.
goes, say, 2 to 2.5 hours, that's a couple episodes worth of time. So, I mean, I'll be very interested to see where they're taking it and how they're going to condense it all into such a short amount of time.
Yep,
Could I quickly add to that runtime thing?
yep.
This could actually be the opportunity to prove that a show like this format of that has like solely been made as a show converted to a movie might actually benefit cutting that kind of filler-esque thing. So
Yeah,
when you said like condensing it, I mean that makes sense. But however, we got so much filler and so
that's
much
true.
unnecessary planet hopping stuff that actually might focus on a proper story more. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean, as long as they, I mean, like you said, as long as it's not too much, they'll cut all the filler out. So hopefully they have enough story to fit into this amount of time for whatever they're going for.
well, it's actually quite interesting to hear your guys' comments because apparently season four is going ahead still, as well as this movie, as well as the Mandoverse movie. So, from my standpoint, it's like, what's season four going to be now? Because if this is theoretically hypothetically, the last time we're going to see the Mandalorian and Grogu in Star Wars, or maybe not the last, but the last major project that involves them, is season four now going to be focused on Bo-Katan and this new Mandalorian identity that is
Mm.
reclaiming Mandalore and um, doing the sort of stuff that Mandalorians did prior to the Night of a Thousand Tears. Is it going to
Yep.
be focused on that, or is it going to still follow Din and Grogu? Because how much more of that story can you tell, especially when you sideline
Well,
them in season three?
Yeah, that
well,
okay.
yeah.
You go, Jack.
Well, I was just gonna say, I remember hearing back in the day, Favreau and Filoni had 5 seasons planned for Mando.
Mhm.
So unless like they're backtracking on that now, and or this movie is trying to be like a gateway bridge as such, like a Mandalorian 3.5 kind of thing, like how Civil War was like kind of the middle Avenger movie that like kind of had everyone in it and led to the next Avengers movie. So it's kind of like, well, is this going to be more of like it could either be like a movie that's filler as hell, like more just an enjoyable flick that you get to go to the theaters and see, or it's gonna just have a massive like cliffhanger, making season four be like this major thing. Oh, season four, whatever it want to be called, a major thing for Din and Grogu. So
Mm,
Yeah, well, I was going to say, because I didn't actually know that that was the case, which makes me think that, again, as I was saying, since it's called Mandalorian and Grogu, we'll probably focus on those two and probably their relationship in the movie. And if they're going to go with a season four, then I'd say almost definitely it's going to be about Bo-Katan and the other Mandalorians.
yeah,
Maybe a cameo here or there from Din Djarin. But personally, I don't know what you guys think of this, but if they were to do that and say Bo Katan or whoever else is going to be the new main character, I don't know how I feel about if that was still called The Mandalorian. Because I think all of us agree that The Mandalorian, when we think of The Mandalorian, that term, we always think of Din Djarin.
exactly. I
are they
think
gonna call it the Mandalorians?
that is exactly what I was just about to say.
Even that,
Yeah,
though, I
yeah,
don't, I feel like it should have a completely different name.
Sounds like a sitcom name,
yeah.
The Mandalorians.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like a family. I mean, I guess
Yeah.
that's what it's meant to be. It's meant to be like a family tribe kind of
Yeah.
thing. But
Mm.
I don't know. I think it's this announcement comes as a surprise, but also not at the same time. It's more honestly, this announcement made me more confused rather than anything. It didn't give me any answers. It just made me more skeptical about what they're planning on doing.
It's just brought out more questions.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
I think it's in terms of obviously Disney have had a rough few years in
Mm,
recent times,
yeah.
and I feel like maybe they've heard the criticisms of season three of The Mandalorian, and they're like, okay, what's a way that we can get audiences on board
Yep.
theatrically? Because obviously, if you were going to produce The Mandalorian season four without like this project going ahead, it's kind of like, oh, okay, you've lost a bit of the fan base because you've
Mm,
sidelined Mando and Grogu. How many people are you still going to retain for season four, even if you put major
yep.
focus on them? So to do this, put it in the theaters and appeal to the Mando and Grogu lovers, which I think is everyone. Not only are you going to get a
Mm,
box office hit, but you're going to bring audiences back for season four. So it's a great marketing strategy. But in terms of story, it's going to be interesting to see how this fits into the wider Mandoverse saga.
yep.
Another
100%.
question
100%.
or another question I have is Pedro Pascal going to return as the Mandalorian? Because there have been
Mm.
some rumors. I think I'm not sure if anything official has been said. I can't remember about Pedro Pascal leaving the Mandalorian.
Um,
Yeah, there's that's been going around for a couple. I feel like that happened almost in season two. That rumor
Mm,
began kind of thing, how he had a falling out because he wanted his face to be shown more. But then I've heard stuff where I kind of believe it because we didn't see obviously Din's face in season three. But yeah, apparently he wasn't even in the suit at all. He just did
yeah,
voiceover work because he was too busy with other projects.
yeah,
He's like one of the hottest actors in Hollywood right now.
mm.
Like it. So in the end, we might have not even seen. You still think it's Pedro, but I think it was just the two stunt doubles because all they had to do was do the action and walk in the suit. It's not really. Yeah,
yeah.
It'll be
I don't know.
interesting to see what happens.
It will be interesting to see what happens. I think that obviously the whole reclaiming of Mandalorian identity was a big theme for season three. So taking off the helmet in that season feels very off for what they were trying to show.
Yeah.
But I feel like now that you're moving away, actually, now that I think about it, even now it would feel weird to take off the helmet in the movie because he's gone through all this effort to do it to and made a big deal of being a part of this new Mandalorian cult. What are they called? I can't remember. The Children of the Watch, is that right?
Yeah.
Sounds
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So, like, if their main thing is you can't remove your helmet, but then also the armor sent out Bo-Katan on
Yeah.
that mission to unite all Mandalorians. It, I like what you guys said. It brings up more questions than answers.
Mm.
Yeah.
It just seems odd. And look, Jon Favreau's
Yeah.
directing. He's only done one Mandalorian episode. He's written a lot of them, but he's only directed one. And that was my favorite, just putting that out there. But
He's
interesting.
he is a movie man though.
He is a
Movie
movie man.
man.
Yep.
Iron
Yes.
Man. He's been in the business of Thura. He's had plenty of experience with sci-fi-esque type stuff too. So that's probably why.
And I think the teaser image that they showed, the one that's in Jack's background, is a great way to get fans excited. But I do bring up
Mm.
first of all, it's great to see Grogu rid of the IG suit. That's incredible. Second
Yep.
thing, I think It's good to see them both together in action, but I hope that there's not just Grogu kind of, walking around
Being
and using the
a cute,
Force. Yeah,
yeah.
I hope he's actually convenient and
That there's
useful to the
relevance
story.
for him in the
Yeah,
movie.
relevance. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%,
It would be
100%.
Anyway,
great if we got
apparently,
to find some more backstory or even some more of what will come with him rather than him just kind of being along for the ride.
yeah.
Mm,
Well, look, the movie is meant to come out before any of the three announced movies at Star Wars Celebration last year.
yep,
So I would be expecting 2024 is a massive release slate for Star Wars, and we'll talk
yeah.
about that later. But I would expect we'd be probably getting this 2025. So depends
Mid
on how far
2025.
along in production it is. It'll either be late
Mm,
2025 or early 2026. But we
mm.
don't know anything else. But what we
Let's
do
just
know,
hope it's not rushed.
yes.
100%,
No
100%.
rushing, no rushing it. What we do know is that Ahsoka is finally getting a season two. It has been confirmed by Disney and Lucasfilm
Yeah.
that Ahsoka's season two is coming. We all kind of
Which,
expected
to
this
be
to
fair,
happen.
is not much of a surprise, is it?
It's not, but it's nice to see actual confirmation and that it's going ahead. A lot of the actors were sharing around the confirmation on their socials, which was pretty good for
Mhm.
me. Um, And yeah, what are your guys' thoughts on season two coming to the Star Wars slate?
Well, I'm just hoping that it's if it's say if it's another 8 episode show like season one, I'm just hoping it's not as much filler. And we've mentioned filler a lot already today, but I think, and I've said it a lot when we did our episodic reviews of Ahsoka, there was just a bit too much. So if they can get a lot more story progression, like I mean, we've already said it so many times that we thought they would reach the other galaxy in the first like half of the first season.
Mm,
So if we can see some a bit more speedy story progression, whatever it's going to be, whether it's Thrawn, Ezra, or Ahsoka, I think we all just want to see it go a bit quicker and be a bit more entertaining overall.
Yep, 100%. I think that the show really needs, like what you were saying, it needs to work on its episodic structure. I think the pacing needs to be a lot better. I found that,
Mhm.
and that runs parallel with episodic structure as well, but just a lot of times it felt like certain things were favored over actual meaningful plot story. I feel like although
mm,
episode five, like the Anakin episode, the World Between Worlds one, was probably the standout, I felt
Mhm.
like it really just put a stop to the way the story was moving. Because episode four, the one where they finally went away to the other galaxy, it was like it just felt all of a sudden it's like we're not moving anywhere. We're just staying in the same spot, same planet, and just the same sort of stuff. So I think they need to work on pacing. And hopefully, obviously, the big question going into this series will be what are they going to do with Balin?
Yep.
Because Ray Stevenson, rest in peace, is no longer with us. Are they going to recast? I feel like that story has so much potential and it just
Mhm.
cannot go untouched in season two. And I hope that Dave Filoni knows that. I feel like he's a smart guy. He does know that.
mm.
But you got to do that story justice on Peridia. Then Ahsoka and Sabine are still there. What are they going to do? Shin's still there. What's she going to do? Then you've obviously got
Yep.
Thrawn and who went with Thrawn? I can't remember. Was it just Thrawn?
The Night Sisters
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
So
think Ezra
and
was there as well.
oh yeah, that's right.
Ezra,
Yeah, Ezra
obviously.
and Hera are doing their thing, and then Thrawn on Dathomir. So there's a lot of different grounds that they can cover, but it's going to be bouncing all over the place
Mm,
between different
Mhm.
characters. I also feel like, and I don't know if I'm stealing anything like from you, Jack, but this is also another big opportunity to actually start including other rebels such as Zeb,
yep.
Callus, and am I missing anyone? I mean, we've got Jason. No, I think that's it. Yeah, so
No,
Zeb,
that's
Zeb
really
and
it.
Callus
Yeah.
are probably the big ones that have been missing. Freddie Prince Jr. won't come back to do Kanan, that's all right. But if we can get those two and just obviously this is leading towards the Mandoverse movie with Thrawn as the big baddie. So let's put a really good story together that transitions into Thrawn's kind of takeover of the galaxy and how everyone's going to unite to stop him.
Yep.
Yep. Yep. Um, Look, to be honest, I think my short and simple kind of opinion about season two of Ahsoka the thing is they just need to be creative and they need to go in the deep end. They can't play it safe. I felt like season one was played so safe. Like everything that happened, we already knew was going to happen even before we saw any footage, basically.
Yeah,
Like we all just assumed it was going to be like that. And they took no risks. And
Yeah.
for a character like Ahsoka and Thrawn, they're two characters that have a lot of stuff already on them and plenty of stuff that we don't know about them. They have so much freedom to make this be a very remarkable and memorable kind of show, right? Because season one, in my opinion, was pretty flat. If it just ended as a one season and done, it would not be. It's not memorable. Like it's not memorable at all. But
agreed.
if they just do these two seasons and this second season amps it up to the max and they go really crazy with this leading into like that Mandoverse movie, they can do wonders with this and it'll be in the history books for Star Wars fans for sure. And with these
Absolutely.
characters, they have the opportunity 100%.
Yep,
Yep.
absolutely. I think just to kind of add on in terms of the sort of projects that we're getting, I think it was important that these two projects were announced now because the
Yeah.
future beyond the Acolyte, Skeleton Crew, and a couple of animated shows, as well as the movies that had already been announced, was looking a bit empty. Like this year, next year are probably going to be 2 big years. And then what's happening after that? Are we going to go back to just getting a movie every 3 years? So to
Mm-hmm.
get more announcements of these shows, obviously probably at Star Wars celebration in 2025, we'll get more announcements. But I think it's important that it came now because, especially for me, when I was looking ahead, it's like, what else are we looking forward to show wise
Mm.
after like the Skeleton Crew's done? Because like there's nothing, there was nothing else. Most of the
Well,
stuff got cancelled.
yeah. Well, here's my hot take, just to kind of cap off on that kind of thing, is that I think that could be a good thing. I feel like if they just took, I know like we obviously want quantity. However, if I had to pick between like having a movie every 2 years, let's just say, or even a movie a year at the end of the year, right? Over like four shows every year, and those movies are really good and creative, then I'm taking that any day of the week. You know what I
Yep.
mean? So it's
Quality
like,
over
is
quantity all
this
the way.
100%. So is this them trying to refocus, kind of restructure themselves, which we've seen a lot of companies sort of do kind of now with like DC, even Marvel have, acknowledged that, yeah, they have been lacking a little bit. Like, are they gonna really focus on putting out quality and people and what people want to see, not really just filler stuff? Like,
Yep.
I hope Skeleton Crew and Acolyte aren't just kind of filler stuff because I know for Acolyte, for example, that has big potential to be influential on the Star Wars franchise. So yeah, that's
Absolutely.
risky.
Yeah, and we'll chat about what's coming up in this year for Star Wars
Yeah.
in the next couple of weeks.
Mhm.
Mark, do you have any other comments to add?
I think we've pretty much touched on everything.
Great. All right. Well, this was just a little update for the new projects that were announced
Yep.
because obviously they're very exciting announcements, and we just thought we'd chip in with our opinions. So hope you've enjoyed, hope you're excited, and we will see you in the next video.
See you
See
later.
ya.